You're listening to Player Development, a channel focused on the intersection of sports and character growth. Please like and subscribe to support the stories being shared, the growth of our listeners, and to stay up to date with our latest content.
Hey everyone, this is Isaiah, and I'm back here today to talk about lower back pain. Now, I'll tell you a little story about my journey with back pain. Right now, one of the best compliments I can receive when I'm playing out on the basketball court is when people are surprised that I'm over 30 years old and they tell me that I move like a 20-year-old. And that wasn't always the case. Back maybe 4 or so years ago, I started noticing that after I would lift heavy, I was training a lot, I was seeing some gains in my vert, I was getting more explosive, getting quicker, all great stuff. But then as I tried to add more and more weight to like my squats and my deadlifts, I noticed that my gains were kind of plateauing, my recovery was stalling, and I just wasn't as explosive and smooth in my movements on the court or even off the court. I was noticing that my back felt like, or my spine felt like it was compressed, so that I couldn't even really straighten it out the way I wanted to. Sleeping got thrown off because I couldn't find a comfortable spot to sleep in. And sometimes even when trying to get up from laying down or sitting down, I felt like I had to hold on to something to support me so that I could stand up. And I felt like my back was always just pressed in, even when I was just standing or moving around throughout the course of a normal day, forget even exercising. And I tried a whole bunch of things to try to treat this at home. Home remedies like heat, massage, ice. Nothing really seemed to alleviate it. It could feel better for a couple minutes, but once that treatment was taken away, when the ice stopped or the heat stopped or the massage stopped, then it just kind of went back to that really stiff, tense feeling where I just was pretty immobile. So eventually I decided to bite the bullet. I went to a physical therapist and I found out that I was suffering from what they called anterior pelvic tilt, which was causing my back pain. And what that was happening was that as I was squatting, and this was back squatting for the most part, I was not properly supporting with my core, so my lower back was carrying a lot of the weight and the strain of the 200 to 225 pounds that were on my back. And so what they had me do was a lot of exercises, and you guys who have done PT know that they love their exercises that don't feel like they're doing a lot, but you're super sore the next day. But what they did was train me in a bunch of these exercises that train my body to properly brace and properly activate my core when I'm lifting, when I'm exercising. And so here's the important thing, right? I had to do all of these exercises, make time 20, 30 minutes a night, do them consistently for a couple of weeks at a time, keep going back to my follow-up appointments. And after maybe a couple of months of really paying attention to this and getting the treatment done right, I'm moving freely again, and I'm able to lift heavy again. And what I can do is if I ever do feel a twinge in that lower back, if I start feeling it tighten up, all I have to do is go back to those exercises for a couple of evenings. And that's that maintenance. That's just kind of spot checking and fixing it up, making sure it doesn't get out of control the way it did before. So here's the deal, right? I'm not a PT. I'm going to say that up front. This is not medical advice or anything like that. What I'm trying to share is what worked for me to overcome my back pain so that I can continue moving like I'm in my 20s. All right, as we get into these exercises, I want to remind you all that I'm not a physical therapist myself. I'm just sharing things that were helpful for me. I hope these exercises are good for you as well. Like and subscribe for more content. First one we're getting into is called the bird dog. And you're going to start on your hands and knees as shown here and brace with your core to maintain your balance. And what you'll do is you'll extend your right hand out and your left leg out. So opposite hand, opposite leg. And hold that for a few seconds. Bring it down. Switch your arm and leg so that you're working the opposite side. You should keep your neck neutral, looking straight down at the ground below you, and maintain a flat back even as you extend. Alright, this one is a simple stretch but feels really good on that lower back. You're going to start with your knees together and bent, laying flat on the ground. Extend one arm diagonally out and bring your knees to point towards the opposite direction and diagonally. So if you imagine a string pulling your arm one direction and your knees the other direction, that's the feeling you want to get. You'll feel that stretch in your lower back, and when you feel good, go ahead and switch sides. The leg raises need a little bit of explanation because there's something that's not very obvious as you watch the video. This exercise is great because this is where I learned to really brace my core. What you won't see is that I'm bracing my core throughout the exercise by using the same tension that I would use to stop peeing. These are the instructions that I got from my physical therapist. The feedback that you can tell that you're doing this right is that you see my hands on my V-cut area of my body, that should tighten and I should feel tension there while my back stays loose. And you're going to maintain that tension throughout. So you practice breathing first while maintaining that tension. Level 1, as you are looking at, you'll see that I'm marching my legs with bent knees, slow and controlled movements, maintaining that braced core throughout. Level 2, I'll start with a straight leg and bent leg on the other side. I'll contract that and bring the knee up, straighten the leg, raise it, and then lower it. Repeat that for the desired amount of reps, and then switch sides.